I'm sorry, let me just give me a second. And here we go. Thanks so much for introducing me. My name is Mitsutaka Nakamura at Washington University in St. Louis. And pardon us that our co-presenter, Zhang cannot make it today due to conflicts of events. Therefore, I just realigned this presentation, focusing on Japanese book club activities to explain our method and what our East Asian libraries did to keep conducting public services and enhancing visibility of the library services in pandemic. To quickly introduce, our EAL is located in Midwest as one of the mid-sized specialized libraries with 50+ years history. We serve the needs of communities who pursue researches primarily in humanities and also in social sciences related to East Asian studies. Exactly 1 year ago from now at 3 p.m. Central Time, on March 19th, we were ordered to evacuate the library along with 11 other libraries on campus. And 3 months later, university libraries began curbside pickup services, and selected librarians and staff resumed on-site works related to circulation and maintenance of our print collections. Meanwhile, WashU IT department successfully provided all the users with available tech tools for interactive communications, including 24/7 chat services. Now it's up to EAL to meet more specified demands by our communities. Public services have 3 key points to be categorized on this presentation: collaboration, connection, and communication. On collaboration, my peer Chinese Studies librarian and our GIS librarians did a great job for digital humanity projects, utilizing apps such as ArcGIS, Story Map, and Omeka, which was actually already introduced earlier today by one of our PhD students. So I'd rather concentrate on Japanese book club for connection and communication categories. Let me begin with the background needs among students in pandemic. First, disruption of impersonal class activities on campus deprived them of any face-to-face communication. On top of that, what was even worse, sudden entry ban by foreign countries, including the Japanese government, forced all students to postpone or cancel their scheduled field trips to Japan in year 2020. Then I started thinking about what I can do to help them keep their language proficiency. So as their subject librarian, together with 3 interested PhD students in Japanese studies program, I created a virtual monthly book club to read Japanese and discuss in English on Zoom. Based on their preference, the club selected the first title in gender theme among contemporary Japanese novels through the fall semester. While each of us ordered the copy by ourselves, I also asked the participating students to invite more participants from in and out of our university as guests to deepen our discussion and build a wider network. Prior to each meeting on Zoom, by the way, I created the list for difficult vocabularies and discussion topics as their aids for reading comprehension. I chose Google Sheet as a format for possible collaboration in the future with these students. Almost all participants, including us libraries, are isolated in pandemic, and some participating students were no longer living in St. Louis area. They have been scattered around from the West Coast to the East Coast. And together with non-WashU affiliated participants, we created a sort of niche connection of scholars who shared the same interest in the research field. And that just happened to be gender studies in contemporary Japanese society, which is often depicted by popular novels. And as you can see by now, anyone can create their own connections as long as they can find the perfect niche for their own participants.
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. The more niche connections scholars are successfully functioning, the higher visibility we all East Asian libraries can enjoy as a whole group, I believe. Furthermore, we were lucky to be able to invite Miyuki Ono, the author of the selected title, Pure, to our book club meetings to discuss her works. I'm proud to announce that one of our participant PhD students now translating this title from original Japanese text to English. As a recap, our Japanese book club successfully provides opportunities for collaboration among the participants, including myself as a librarian, connection among the participants in and out of WashU communities based on the same niche interest in researches, and communication among the participants on regular basis, since none of them can afford to meet in person any longer. The club works as a salon for students, faculty, and librarians alike to talk freely and equally with each other. And this is something new to all of us. Now, following our successful book club activities in the last fall semester, Japan Foundation of Los Angeles cordially provides us financial aid to purchase more titles to read as a book club. We are good to go at least until the summer of 22 to keep reading each title per semester. And thanks to Japan Foundation grant, now EAL can purchase and provide the title to read for the club members. And currently, we read one of the latest titles by Aoko Matsuda, another gender-themed novel in contemporary Japanese society. I'm working on to secure our next guest speaker. Last summer, we started this little venture with just 3 students. Now we have as many as 15 members to read and discuss the same title. Finally, for the better communication, we utilize library blog posts to update what is happening with EAL to reach out to broader community at WashU. Each small success keeps increasing the visibility of EAL in and out of WashU communities, and blog posts are beneficial tool to make announcements and keep records for the future. By the way, even if you don't know these URLs, just Google Japanese Book Club and you can find us on the top page. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Mitsu-san, for sharing your experience of creating this book club. I wish that I were able to attend too. So for all our
greetings from Pittsburgh. My name is Yuanziyi Zhang, and I am a second-year master's student in East Asian Languages and Literatures at the University of Pittsburgh. And I currently work as a student assistant at our East Asian Library. Today, I want to briefly talk about the East Asian Gateway Service we maintain, the current situation, and how we have been coping with the COVID-19. So, the East Asian Gateway Service was established in October 1998 and was first funded by the U.S. Federal Institute of Museum and Library. In October 2001, the University of Pittsburgh library system started to take over the service, and it has been financially supported by the ULS since then. What the service does is to provide free delivery of full text Chinese and Korean language academic publications to researchers. So our gateway service delivers Chinese documents to any individual researchers for research and teaching purposes, or the nonprofit organizations who cannot find the needed item in any US libraries. For Korean documents, however, the service only offers delivery to faculty and students of the University of Pittsburgh for now. Here is a list of our current partners. We now collaborate with 3 university libraries in China, the Peking University, Tsinghua University, and Xiamen University, and 1 research institute in Korea, the Korea Institute of Science and Technology Information, or KISTI. We used to have more than 10 partners, but now more and more libraries join the OCLC's network and do not need to go through us to obtain materials. In exchange, we provide the document delivery service of materials in multiple languages to our Chinese and Korean partner libraries. Their requests are fulfilled by either collections from the university library system or by the interlibrary loan. Here are some stats I generated using the data from 2017 to 2021. In the request form, users are asked about their occupation and their subject of interest. But notice that these questions are optional and not all users would answer them. From the first bar chart, we can see that the highest bar is non-university researchers. This is because we receive most requests from the 1 non-university institute in Korea, and the second highest is graduate student, followed by faculty members, undergraduate, and librarians. On the right here, this chart shows the subject distribution. The highest bar is also because of requests from the Korean Institute. Almost all of their requests are materials in science and engineering. Humanities also take a large portion of the requests, then it followed by medicine, social science, law, and the least request we receive is in art. Okay. Next, this is a line graph showing the total number of requests we receive from China, Korea, and other countries, including the United States. You can see on the x-axis here, I started each year's counting from February. This is actually because I want to have a more clear view of how the situation has changed since the pandemic. As you know, the first large-scale outburst of COVID-19 in the US that we're known of started around March. From this graph, we can see that before January 2020, requests from China and Korea have been decreasing continuously. Entering the 2020, the decreasing rate for Korean requests slowed down a little bit. For requests for China, however, there is actually an increase. As I previously mentioned, the number of our partner libraries is decreasing year by year, so we did not really expect such an obvious increase. The line on the bottom here is the request we received from researchers or institutes outside of China and Korea. We can see that there is no obvious fluctuation during the past 3 years, but the number keeps growing slowly. The total number of requests in the past year did not actually decrease as much as we expected. Therefore, in coping with the pandemic, we have been facing many difficulties. First of all, under the new norm of virtual correspondence, the asynchronous work schedule makes it very inconvenient for pushing forward work in a timely manner. There is a time lag now between regular inquiries and responses, which previously can be resolved in real time.
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Secondly, most of our staff members in the university library system have reduced on-site working hours or take turns to work on site. This means a longer time is needed for digitization requests to be processed. And thirdly, the university library system is experiencing a large number of staff retirement, and the cutoff funding for the whole library makes it difficult for new recruitment. I took over the gateway service in September 2020 due to the retirement of a colleague. The handover procedure had been complicated since the service involved multiple stakeholders. Last fall, I was the only student assistant working in the East Asian Library, and we really had 3 to 4. I worked 15 hours in the fall and 20 hours a week in the spring. But in addition to the gateway service, my hours had to be allocated to other tasks in the library, including the book and journal shelving, office works, and a digital humanity project on Chinese Village Gazetteer that we're currently working on. But as a result of the reasons above, we can see on the right, the average response time of requests fulfilling almost doubled in the past year. The average for 2019 is 4.84, but for 2020 it's 9.04. Okay, I will conclude my presentation with a discussion about the future. We all have gone very far in coping with the new norm under the COVID-19, but now we wish to further optimize the efficiency of communication. In addition, we will have to go through the handover process again in the near future. We hope to standardize our protocols to simplify the workflow as well as the handover process. Lastly, the East Asian Gateway Service has long been the last resort for researchers to seek materials that they're not able to find elsewhere. So to some extent, the Gateway Service fills in the gap of transcontinental interlibrary partnership. In the future, we want to imagine and discuss new possibilities and modes of collaboration in our community. That is all I have for today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Yuanziyi, for sharing more about the